Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. Look at that.
On this edition of Focus on the 46th, we are meeting the inspiration behind the successful online movement, Accessible Hunter. Greg Traynor has been an avid hunter and fisherman since childhood, but suffered a life-changing injury after a freak accident in the late 1990s. Through the support of his wife and his rock-solid positive attitude, Greg has continued to enjoy the outdoors and began encouraging others facing similar situations to do the same through his online persona, Accessible Hunter. I'm meeting with Greg at his 19th century farmhouse in Greene County as he prepares for spring turkey season.
Hi, I'm State Senator Camera Bartolotta. In Harrisburg, I represent the 46th Senatorial District, which is all of Greene County, all of Washington County, and a little bit of Beaver County. The southwest corner of Pennsylvania has a lot to offer. So join me as I focus on the 46th.
Absolutely.
Hey, Pat.
It's very
How
nice
are
to
you?
meet you.
Oh my God, it's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks for coming down.
Oh, my pleasure. This is great. I'm so excited. Hi, how are you? Good. Oh.
My dad introduced me to hunting whenever I was 12. And we started off with hunting squirrels and rabbits. And as I got a little bit older and got into high school and things, I started archery hunting. I love the outdoors and just love everything about getting outside and enjoying nature.
How old is this house?
We're not sure of the specifics, but
Okay.
we do plan to reach out to the Greene County Historical Society so they can let us know and get some background on it.
Sure.
About 1850, so
Wow.
pre-Civil War.
Well, I was pretty athletic. I had a karate school. I taught karate for about 5 years. I was a varsity fencer at Penn State. I rode motorcycles, so I don't know so much about being a risk taker, but I sure did a lot of outdoor things. Whenever I was 31, I ended up in Massachusetts, up near Cape Cod, and I had a diving accident. I lived on a small lake, and me and my friend, we got out of a hot tub and said we didn't polar bear for New Year's, so let's get out and polar bear, we'll jump in the lake and then come back up and get in the hot tub and then we'll have some dinner. I was in waist deep water and thought I dove out, but what happened was I dove down and I ended up breaking my neck at the C4-5 level. And I was instantly paralyzed. I couldn't move anything, and I was floating on the water. And my friend Matt, he was right there. He come over and got me over to shore. How can I get hurt diving from a standing position? Never even thought that possible.
grief.
So
That is a freak
yeah,
thing. Oh
just
my
happened
gosh.
in an instant.
So not only that, but you were in ice cold water too, right?
Yeah, it was.
That
it was
could have
in-
been part of the survival.
Maybe I had
Yeah.
never thought about that, but it was
Yeah.
in February
Oh.
'99, and
Yeah.
it was a
In Massachusetts.
it was a wild time.
Holy cow. You're lucky you survived that.
I really am. I had a couple of surgeries on my neck, and I was on a ventilator, and
Mm-hmm.
got really good care at Brigham and Women's in Boston, and
Yeah.
then flew down to Atlanta, Georgia, and did my rehab there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I really learned how to survive as a quadriplegic. Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia was one of the premier spinal cord injury hospitals in the country. So as soon as I could really get up out of my bed into a wheelchair, the therapeutic rec department took me down to their gymnasium and let me use adaptive equipment to shoot an air gun. And me being a big hunter, that was right up my alley. I mean, they catered to whatever the person wanted to do in life, whether it would be hunting or camping or fishing. They asked you what you were interested in, and they tailored the program to you.
And we're lucky to have some groups like that here in Washington County. We have Triple.
Yeah.
They do amazing work. They've got a whole new facility right in the center of Washington, PA. And it's really trying to grab people immediately after something tragic like that happens and say, look, we were in your shoes before and we're going to help you get through this. And they learn how to, they literally will swoop in and help rebuild kitchens with lower counters and make sure you've got walkways and all of these incredible things for people. But they also have like life skills training, like a mock kitchen or a mock shower, all of these great things. And they say, you too, you can live on your own, you can be independent, and let's get you there as quickly as possible.
As I got stronger and moved back to Pennsylvania, it took about 10 years for me to get strong enough to want to go hunting again, but I contacted Whitetail Management in Pittsburgh because they do a lot of deer management in the parks and cemeteries and things, and the guys said, Greg, we'd love to have you out as a hunter. We've never had a person with quadriplegia go hunting before. We set up a ground blind at the cemetery in Pittsburgh and got there really early and got everything set up, and along came this doe at like 30 yards, and she stopped in front of me, and I was able to move left and right a little bit to get on her and move my chair up and down, and I took the shot. I hit her just perfectly, and everybody was just so excited. It was amazing that they were so excited for me, and I was just thrilled because I was back. I was doing something that I loved. That's just something I'll never forget. So what we're doing here is putting in my adaptive hunting equipment, and she's putting it into a seat plate from Be Adaptive, and this is actually a family-run business in Indiana. Jacob Keller, him and his family have Be Adaptive equipment, and they've just been wonderful for people with disabilities. This happens to be a sip and puff trigger, and it's electronic. We're gonna plug it into the controller on my wheelchair and power it up, and then I can kind of show you guys how that works a little bit too. That powers it.
Yep.
And then whenever I suck on the straw, it activates the trigger almost like a door lock. It's just an actuator. But I'm able to move it left and right, and that gives me about 10 or 20 yards out that, I have to plan for where the turkey or deer is going to be, but it works out really well.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, great equipment. But having that experience with guys that I didn't even know celebrate with me, it was like being at a hunting camp. Hunters are so amazing that, when one guy gets something, everybody's happy for them. That made me want to share my experiences with other people. So I started the blog Accessible Hunter to be able to share my experiences and some of the equipment I was using at the time. And that was really the start of Accessible Hunter and my social media outreach, I guess, for people with disabilities. The blog turned into a Facebook page, and I got to connect with some really great people throughout the country, like Mike Hudson down in South Carolina, and people that are going through the same experience, and we kind of all connected. Mike and I always say the disability community, especially the hunting community, is a small community. It did take time. It's not an overnight success by any means, but we're over 10,000 followers on Accessible Hunter now, and that turned into 2 different podcasts that we get to talk with people and share their experience. And whenever I hear somebody's story that got their first turkey or got their first deer, whether it's a monster buck or a mature doe, you can hear it in their voice, and I get excited talking to them about it.
So, again, this is the original. This was a tavern.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, look at the stairs.
Yeah. This was the actual tavern where they had the bar and the stage.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Oh my God, look at this place.
Yeah, at the auction, I think they auctioned off the stage. So,
Jeez Louise. This little room was a tavern and a stage.
Yes, there was a little stage in the corner.
Yeah.
And
I'll be darned. These are original hardwood floors right here. That's incredible.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing.
I had an opportunity to hunt with the Tom Sipple Foundation, and the week before, actually 2 weeks before, I had my big toe amputated on my right foot and surgery on it, and I spent a week in the hospital, and I really wanted to go on this hunt with the Tom Sipple Foundation. So my wife Beth made a foam, almost like cast for around my foot, and then she made a camouflage cover for that. 10 days after surgery, I went hunting with some great guys.
It's 10 acres that won't be developed, which is so important to us.
Yes.
18
what?
1850?
1850.
That's what we're thinking. It could be earlier.
Oh my gosh.
We have some nice closet space, which is rare.
Incredibly rare.
Yeah, that's under the built-in
and all of that too. Yeah. They try to use every little nook and cranny.
Yeah.
And we went up to Indiana, PA, 10 days after surgery. And when we got there, they said to me, Greg, we have a huge white deer, not an albino deer, but a white deer that's running around the farm. I've always heard stories, it's bad luck to shoot a white deer, and there's a little bit of negativity associated with that. But let's see what happens. I'm just glad to be here and glad to be hunting with you guys. Thank you for taking me out. And I was looking through the scope on an iPad. So they had all the adaptive equipment. Beth said, hey, here comes that white deer, and it's big. And I could tell by her eyes that it was big.
This is our kind of makeshift
Ramp.
for Greg, so he can get around.
This reminds me of Williamsburg almost. I'm looking at the fireplace and I'm picturing people in period costume cooking things over there.
Yeah, very cool. Have you ever seen the movie The Goonies?
I actually toured that set because I grew up in LA, and I was working on a TV show that was at the same studio. And one of the stars of The Goonies said, hey, you want to go take a look? I walked all through the boat and everything was awesome. Look at that.
Do you see this?
Wow.
And
okay. Oh my goodness.
And that
I am
was
so
downstairs.
Curious. So curious.
And this deer is the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life. It weighed 300 pounds and had a rack like the size of a trash can. It was a non-typical, I think it scored 172. And I made a perfect shot using the sip and puff trigger, and it dropped. It's on my wall in my bedroom, and we wake up to it every morning, and I look at it every day, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be out with the guys and what they did for me, and thankful for my wife that she got me out, and it was fun. I had a good time.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
But again,
So you got the tour of the money pit.
yes.
Yeah.
We really do love it, and
You should.
we bought it for the property, and
Yeah.
this has really come together to be a family destination place. All right, I'm going to get into a different gear here.
All right.
I contacted Buckmaster's Disabled Hunting Foundation, and I told them I was a high-level quadriplegic and I was a really passionate bow hunter again, and I wanted to get back into that. And it wasn't a week or so later that Buckmaster's contacted me and said they were going to send me a crossbow and also a mount. So I was just thrilled. I was just looking for maybe a company that I could contact to purchase the equipment, but through their donations and their foundation, they had sent me the crossbow and a mount. I noticed that if I take my time, I was still a really accurate shot. I didn't have to relearn how to hunt. I just had to do it with adaptive equipment.
All right, teach me. I know nothing about turkey hunting. I just know that I have a ton of turkey that tromp through the backyard a lot, eating everything, and they're super clumsy and kind of fat. And they'll get up into a tree and they'll just kind of like kerplunk, kerplunk, kerplunk down. And they're hilarious, but I know nothing about turkey hunting. So share with us a little bit of your knowledge, please.
Well, I don't claim to be a turkey hunting expert by any means.
Yeah.
But this happens to be a turkey call made in Greensburg, PA.
Nice.
Rupert's Rest in Peace. And, it's a box call. It's one of the first calls that, most people learn to use.
Okay.
And if you just kind of slide the paddle right across it, exactly. So
it's pretty easy.
So it is pretty easy. And you're doing the and then
roost in peace. That's adorable.
Yeah. But you had basically mentioned all of turkey hunting. I mean, they fly up into the roost.
Yeah.
So the first 2 weeks of the Pennsylvania season are going to start on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Right around the corner. Good.
Right around the corner. We can only hunt until noon. So
really?
Yep. The first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then the second 2 weeks you can hunt all day. And in the spring, we're only going after the male, so the bearded turkey, the gobbler.
Mm-hmm.
But you had mentioned that they fly up into the tree. So early morning, what we want to do is wait for them to fly down off the roost. Then we would call to them, mimicking a hen. and then try to get the gobbler to come over to our decoys. And this year I'm going to be using my crossbow. So this week I was kind of sighting in and putting a turkey target, in the apple orchard. And what I like to do is we set up a ground blind, and I would be wearing all black and have a face covering. Because turkeys, they say, can see a 1-inch block move 1 inch at 100 yards.
Oh my gosh.
So they're very keen on their eyesight. And basically it takes a lot of patience, but we're going to do some calling and hopefully we can entice the male to come over to the hen. So when I was first injured, I wanted to get back into bow hunting, and I contacted the Game Commission about hunting out of a vehicle. They, give you a permit if you're a person with a disability and can't get into the woods to hunt out of your vehicle. Now there's certain regulations that you have to go through. I mean, it's not road hunting by any means, but on state game lands, they have areas where you can pull over and hunt. But they also will give you a permit if you can't, call. My diaphragm's affected. I get out of breath and I can't really call like I used to.
Turkey call, you mean?
Turkey calling.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to try for you with a diaphragm, but I applied for a permit to use an electronic call. And not everybody in PA can use electronic calls. You need a special permit. And they were, very gracious. I just applied for it and showed them the need, and they responded. So I'm really thankful for that.
You're going to show us a little something?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to?
Sure.
Call a little bit?
Well, yeah.
Let me
We can
just
add
try
that to
this.
the diaphragm call.
So,
That's amazing.
So I'm not the best caller in the world. As you can see, I get out of breath.
Sure. There's so many people out there who may have disabilities and they just think, well, I can't hunt.
Absolutely.
How am I supposed to be able to do that? I can't do that. Or fish.
Yep.
And there's so many places now, more and more and more all the time, to allow for people with all sorts of disabilities to enjoy the outdoors, to enjoy fishing, to enjoy even kayaking.
Yep.
And I mean, I helped get a grant for my little town, and they got a disabled kayak launch.
Yep.
And they're everywhere now.
Yep.
It's fantastic. So you can do all sorts of things.
It's really amazing what the state is doing as far as making the rifle ranges accessible.
Yes.
And they're really taking into account people with disabilities. I was in contact with them yesterday, as a matter of fact, and they're doing the 3R retention, recruitment, and I forget the other R, but it's the 3R program, and they're going to be doing some surveys for people with disabilities, and they're really taking it serious and moving forward. So,
having the Accessible Hunter Facebook page and podcast has really opened up how I communicate with others. It's given me a sense of purpose. Accessible Hunter lets me build friendships with people that I never thought I would be able to meet. We try to do our best to get the message out that no matter what your disability, focus on what you can do, not what you can't. So the Accessible Hunter platform has really opened up the world to me, given me a purpose, and I feel like I'm helping other people. I do like to think that I'm able to provide information, that I'm able to connect people together, to be able to provide a way to say, yes, you can do this. You may have a disability, but you can do it, whether you're vision impaired, whether you're a quadriplegic, whether you have ALS. The people that I meet, it's just amazing what they do, and I like to focus on that and celebrate it.
So 10 Point, I've been using them for a long time, and they were one of the first to come out with this crank to cock the crossbow, and it's really nice for people with limited dexterity and hand strength. So she's going to crank it up.
Okay.
And if she would actually even let go of that crank, it wouldn't spin back around.
Oh, that's
but
right. Yeah.
this is like a 150-pound draw, but it takes like 9 pounds for her to be able to do it. These arrows are lighted nocks from 10 Point. So whenever I shoot, a light's going to come on the back of the nock so that we can see where this is from.
Cool.
Beth, if you put that on fire for me too. And
Okay, we'll be back here.
the reason that is so important to lighted nocks is we're hunting on the ground, and if we shoot at something, we want to be able to see where it hits.
Yeah.
If you're in a tree stand, you're shooting at a downward angle, your bolt's going to
ground.
stop in the ground.
There
right?
you go. Right.
So I'm gonna just line this up here on our turkey target, and I'm using the seating elevator on my wheelchair to get this set up.
That's right.
Okay, and I'm gonna put that on fire, and then whenever I suck on the straw, it's gonna activate the trigger.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. Look at that.
So I think we got a dead turkey.
I think we got a dead turkey. I think we got dinner. That's what we got.
Dinner, that's right. That's right. So as you guys can see, the adaptive equipment, it's very accurate. As a person with a disability, I'm not a less than hunter,
Exactly, yeah. And it takes still a ton of skill.
I'm really fortunate that I have a wonderful wife. Beth and I have been together for a long time. She's my best friend. I get a little bit emotional about it because she does so much for me, not just physically, but emotionally, to have a partner that I can always rely on. Beth is my best friend. Anything that I'm involved with, she's willing to do, and I am for her as well.
It's beautiful.
And we have to remember, because when we're here, we do so much work, just to step back every once in a while and take a day and enjoy it.
And that's hard to do.
It is.
Yeah, when you get on a roll, it's like, well, I have a limited amount of time, and when you sit down and kind of relax, you're like thinking of all the things you need to do. But that is a great lesson too. Yeah. Life is really short, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Take today. It's a gorgeous day. The sun is shining, the sky's blue, the birds are singing. Enjoy the heck out of what you've already done. Tomorrow will come. Yeah. That's a great lesson.
When I was first starting to hunt again, we would take trips out to Illinois, and this was whenever I was a little bit younger and full of vigor, so we would hunt all day, and that meant getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, her showering, and then getting me up, and then getting to the ground blind by 5 o'clock in the morning. And when you go on a hunting trip, the guides drop you off sometimes and you spend all day. So we had spent 12 or 13 hours watching a cornfield in Iowa in 12 to 15 degree weather, staying warm with a thermos full of tea. And not a lot of women or spouses that don't hunt would do that, but she did it for me because it was important to me. So I'm very fortunate to have a loving wife and a good family, and we make a good team.
So you don't even need to have your special wheels, right?
I don't.
For this, in your place?
With being down here, as long as the weather's good, it's so easy to come up to the orchard and to get to the back of the blind. Yeah. But I do have a special track chair, and they make so many different models. Action Track is the main outdoor wheelchair company, I believe. I happen to have a track fab that was made up in Slippery Rock.
Oh, okay.
But there's another chair. It's called Echo Rover.
Okay.
And it's a very good chair too. So it all depends on where you live in the country and to be able to get the maintenance done on them.
Oh, that's a big thing too. Because you need to have them checked up on like once a year, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even normal wheelchairs. Even any kind of wheelchair.
Even normal chairs. Yeah. Senator, this is a ground blind made by Baronet Ground Blinds, and what makes this a little bit special is if you zip up this side and then the other side, it's a garage door opening, and this type of blind makes it so easy for people with wheelchairs to be able to get in. And then that'll just flip up.
Oh my goodness, look at that. We're gonna hit the tree a little bit or no?
Yeah, you sure can.
Oh, okay.
And we had some rain last night, so
yeah, it's a little mushy out here.
Let me get a run for this.
Well, it's toasty.
It is.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
And then this just unbuttons, and we're able to hunt from here. You can just let that hang down like that.
Oh, how cool is that?
So whenever I'm sitting in here, Beth will have a camp chair.
Yeah.
And we have a pretty good setup for deer. We have deer as close as 5 feet in
my goodness.
in October.
Wow.
But one of the things that maybe people don't realize about having a disability is I can't control my body temperature. So when I'm hunting and it's cold, I'll use a mister heater, buddy heater. And when it's really warm, I'll use a cooling vest. As a quadriplegic, I can't sweat below my injury level.
Really?
Yep. So
Oh, Lord, I didn't know that.
So having a heater in the ground blind for even early October, this is almost like a living room.
Yeah.
You know, and then in the summertime, I wear a cooling vest. And it really keeps me out because otherwise I just couldn't do it.
Right. So you got a lot of turkey in the freezer or no?
I've been lucky enough to get a couple. And, you know, it's an amazing experience, especially using a crossbow.
Oh,
my first couple of turkeys and growing up, I've got them with shotguns. But I really love bow hunting, and I want to give it a try with my 10-point this year.
Yeah.
As you can see, it shoots really accurate.
It sure does. Well, you shoot really accurate. It follows your direction.
I enjoy it, but they're good bows, and they're made in Ohio. It's a USA company.
There you go. Very nice.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, this has been so much fun. It really has been great, and I'm looking forward to seeing some video of you getting a turkey on Saturday. And I want to keep up with you on what it is you're doing and how your advice and your experience with a lot of this technology is going to help so many people. I'm really, really excited about that. I'm still going to work on that legislation to make sure that people with disabilities get a discount on their fishing license, on their hunting license, and all that. Get people out and teach them what they can do no matter what disability they have. And you're a wonderful, wonderful mentor for that and a great example. I'm just so excited to finally meet you in person.
Thank you so much for all your kind words, and what you're doing for people with disabilities is so important. I don't think, we want a handout. We just need a hand up sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's nice that, you were taking the time out of your schedule to come down and talk with us. It shows how important the hunting community is, how important it is for people with disabilities to get out. So I appreciate everything you're doing. I really do.
Thanks so much. You're awesome. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
One of the sayings that we always like to use is no matter how you get there, get there. And I say that because it really doesn't matter if you're slow walking to the blind, if you're in a wheelchair, if you use a cane, just getting outdoors, no matter how you get there, get there. And that's why accessibility is so important, to have the ability to get to a blind or to do some urban hunting where you don't have to go out into the woods as far. It's just important to get outside, to spend the time with your family. All the rest is just noise. It doesn't matter how you get there. Just do it.